This is a Dude Studios production. And hey, I'm the dude.
Hey bartender, pass me a drink. A reason that I'm here is I need time to think. All the ways.
Welcome back to Hey Bartender Podcast. This is your bartender speaking for the night. This is Anthony. You can call me dude. I'm completely cool with that. How is everybody doing out here these hot summer weeks? Dear God, what I would do to work in a air-conditioned bar right now, or maybe just someplace that has a nice breeze in it, because it is like hitting the high triple, it's been hitting the triple digits out here where I live in West Texas. And, you know, it makes me miss living in the Northwest because it doesn't get this hot in the Northwest. And if it does, it only lasts for maybe a week and then it's over. But dear God, it's hot out here in Texas right now. Before we get started with today's drink special, I just want to remind all of you, if you want to contact me, if you want to be on the show, if you are a band and you want your music to be played on the show, all you have to do is email me, dude, at heybartenderpodcast.com. And, you know, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And, you know, my only criteria is that you spend a little bit of time in the service industry. That's pretty much it. We can work on the rest of the conversation from there. So today's drink special, usually on Wednesdays I do shots, and this is one of those days. So this one I decided to pull out because it sounded interesting. It is called the Pineapple Upside Down Cake Shot. What it says about it: the best kind of sweet shots mimic your favorite dessert recipes. This mixture does just that, with the splash of grenadine partnering perfectly with the yellow-colored cocktail. The ingredients you're going to need: splash of grenadine, 3/4 ounce of pineapple juice, 3/4 ounce of vanilla vodka, and 1 cherry for garnish. The extra instructions go as follows. In shot glass, combine the apple juice and the vanilla vodka. Drop a splash of grenadine, let it settle, and garnish with a cherry and serve. You know, this probably sounds like one of those drinks that you probably want to mix up a little bit too. Might bring out the flavor a little bit better. So you maybe throw that in your shaker and then pour that into a rocks glass and put your splash of grenadine in it for it sounds like just for color. Yeah, pretty much it. But the mixture of pineapple juice and vanilla vodka, that sounds pretty interesting to me. But anyway, remember, if you guys try this stuff out, I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Email me, dude, at heybartenderpodcast.com, or you can DM me on the social media networks. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, I am at heybartenderpodcast. That's all you need to know, really. Got to get this quick thing said. I got a message the other day from somebody who asked me, how come I don't talk about the liquors in particular, or all I do is, and I only mention one drink in the episode. And also they were asking me, how come I don't encourage people to drink responsibly? Well, of course I encourage people to drink responsibly. This is my bar. If somebody gets in a car accident, there is a good chance that I can get in trouble for that. The police can say I overserved them. The family can come back and sue me. There's a whole bunch of reasons. But the other stuff, okay. I don't talk about the alcohol that much and how drinking and how to get drunk. Why? Because this is a podcast for the service industry. I do this. I don't do this to talk about getting drunk or anything like that. I'm here standing up for the service industry itself, what we go through during our shift. Now, I'm not saying that anybody drinks during their shift. I'm not saying anybody doesn't drink during their shift, but it's highly encouraged not to. And at least where all the places where I used to work, when I used to bartend in Oregon, if you left a customer's drink glass behind the bar and the OLCC came in and started in with their test strips, they would just assume, well, we can't assume that a customer drank that, so we have to, since it's behind the bar, we have to assume you drank it. And I knew a handful of bartenders that got in trouble for that sort of thing. But remember, Hey Bartender Podcast is here for the service industry. I'm standing up for you guys. I'm telling the stories about you guys. I'm letting you guys come on the show and to talk about what it's like being in the service industry, what we put up with, our funny stories, our sad stories, our ups and downs, just all that sort of thing. It's not about the alcohol. It's not about drinking, getting drunk. Sometimes it is about having a good time, but it's mostly about what we go through when we're working in the restaurant, because a lot of people out in this world just don't understand what the service industry goes through. They just sit back and look at us and go, what? This is an easy job. How come you couldn't bring me my third serving of ranch in a timely amount of, in timely manner? I'm working on my third heart attack here. Come on. Getting customers like that. I'm here to bring up those stories and get you guys to bring your stories to me also. I would love to hear from you guys. So if you ever want to be on the show, or you just want to say something that I can read on the show, email me, dude at heybartenderpodcast.com. I know I'm really pushing the email this episode, but I really want to hear from you guys, because you guys have been ultra supportive for me, and you guys are all really awesome for coming and listening to this podcast, because, when you start off on a podcast, you don't really know where it's going to go or how it's going to do. You just know that you're not going to get the listenership of some of the really high-end top 100 podcasts, at least not as first, unless you get insanely controversial or get a celebrity on your show or something like that. Which, if any of you know celebrities that have been bartenders or servers, hit them up. Tell them about the podcast. I'm looking at people that know people like Bruce Willis or John Krasinski or Jennifer Aniston. They all worked in the service industry. They were waiters, waitresses, bartenders. I'd love to bring those people on my show, mostly to boost the numbers, and some of them I greatly admire and just want to talk to them. So, on to today's quick shot subject. Yeah, I know I say and I'm a lot. Hopefully you guys have gotten used to that by now. But, I was flipping through TikTok, and one of the women that I follow, she was bringing up something that happens in the gym. And, me and gyms, we don't really get along all that well, mostly because sometimes my iPhone falls up. I'm listening to something really awesome on my iPhone while I'm on the treadmill, then it falls out of my pocket and gets launched across the place. No, I don't do gyms anymore. Well, kind of, but that's a different story for a different time. But she was talking about people complimenting each other at the gym. Most of the time, people keep their heads down. They try not to make contact with anybody unless they're on the prowl. And, talking to people that you don't know, complimenting them on what's, on their bodies, the way they look, or how much they're lifting, I guess, according to her, isn't really done in the gym. She was talking about it, and so she eventually started saying, I have no problem complimenting people in the gym. Hey, good set. Hey, you're looking great today. Have you lost weight? Things like that. And she's like, what's the big deal? How come people don't compliment each other anymore? Well, let's go into the bar and try to look at that same situation. Now, between the bar and the gym, it's basically the same. You sit there and you watch your customers, and you can observe all of this sort of thing. You see the customers, they either want to meet people, talk to people, be social, or they're fooling themselves into thinking they just want to be alone in a public place. You see the people that want to be social. They're, hey, how you doing? Person I've never met before in my life. Wait, what do you do for a living? Hey, that's a great shirt. Or, hey, I drink that too. What do you, when did you start drinking that? You know what kind of drink you should actually try if you like that? It's that kind of people. But then you got the people that are fooling themselves into thinking, I just want to sit here by myself, alone, and drink my beer or my cocktail, whatever. And they're, if you want to be alone, why put yourself into a social atmosphere as a bar? As a bartender, I would always stand there and watch these people, and they, try to engulf themselves in whatever's on TV, whatever I happen to have on the TV at the time, whether it was earlier in the night and it was ESPN or really late at night after watching the replay for the fourth time of ESPN's nightly thing. I'd turn it over to a music video channel back when there were music video channels. And, they would sit there and just stare at the TV. They don't, or they get themselves heavily involved in the trivia game, or get themselves heavily involved with the Mega Touch, or just flat out go play video poker. People will leave you alone when you play video poker for the most part, unless you win big, and then people, hey, congratulations, that's awesome, probably hoping that you're going to buy them a drink. But in the bar situation, from my point of view, as a bartender, I used to be afraid of complimenting anybody. On major achievements, if they came in and said, hey, I just finished my college courses, or I just got engaged, or it's my birthday, I'd say, hey, congratulations, that's awesome, that's an amazing achievement, whatever they happen to do. Sometimes I buy them a drink just because it's one of their amazing achievements. But at that point in time, you start to think maybe they were fishing for the compliment because they just have to announce to somebody that something great just happened in their life. So yeah, they're fishing for a compliment. That doesn't really count for this subject. But if I were to see somebody come in, the easiest way to combat this is to say, if I saw a girl that comes into my bar dressed differently than the way she usually comes in. Let's say she usually comes in her work uniform, but one night she decided to come in and visit my shift, not necessarily me, but just my shift. And she's wearing a nice dress, or, something dressed casual. I would want to say, wow, you look great tonight. But I wouldn't say it because, well, there are a number of reasons. One, I'm not sure if they would take the compliment that well, because usually when I give women compliments, they're like, oh, thanks. And then it feels like they blow me off pretty much after that, change the subject, whatever. Now, this is just my point of view, ladies and gentlemen, of what's happening. Because because my mind likes to play. It's one of those minds that said, well, they didn't really react to that very well. They must hate you. Or they're disgusted by you. Leave them alone from here on out. Because that's just the way my mind works. It's something I'm trying to fix, but there's not much I can do about it. Or when somebody, it actually stands out that they're dressed nicely. And, I could easily tell a couple, man and a woman together, wow, you two look great tonight. What are you doing? What's going on? What's the occasion? And, show some genuine curiosity. That's pretty easy to do. But when I'm complimenting one person in general, it becomes tougher because I'm afraid of how it's going to be taken. Because my mind thinks that people aren't comfortable around me. That's just the way my mind works. So most of the time, I'll keep my mouth shut. This dates back to high school. Some of the girls I went to high school with actually brought it to my attention. Why are you so quiet all the time? And I said, I'm not quiet. I say things like everybody else. Personally, I don't think I shut up. Of course, now I've got a podcast and a microphone. So right now, and I'm not interviewing anybody right now. So of course you can't get me to shut up. But in general, if I were to compliment anybody when I'm working behind the bar, I'm afraid of how it's taken, because there are people in the bar situation that feel like that they're surrounded by predators and they are the prey. So they try to, tone themselves down a little bit. It's like they don't want a compliment, or when they receive the compliment, they automatically shut it down immediately if it comes from the person that they don't want it from. I'm not going to say the person that they're not interested in, because there's this one person that was completely interested in this other person, but they like to play hard to get for some reason. The person walk up to him, hey, you look amazing tonight. Oh, please, this thing. and oh, shut up, say things like that. But, throwing compliments in a bar, it's a really interesting situation, especially since everybody is under the influence of alcohol for the most part, with the exception of the bartenders and servers. We're wandering around, and, we will compliment people, but the compliments to me usually got thrown by the wayside. And if I walked up to a customer and I said, "Hey, you look great tonight," they'll think, "Oh, they're just looking for a bigger tip." And so, but I'm not saying that's what the person thought, but that's what my brain told me. But let's change it around a little bit. There are people out there that will blow off compliments because of their self-esteem, or they didn't want that person to give them a compliment. They wanted somebody else to give a compliment, or they're playing hard to get. Come on, we got to admit, sometimes all of us play hard to get with some certain people because we want to be chased, or there's thousands of different reasons. I'm no psychologist, but I am a bartender. But you got to change it up a little bit, because there's also situations in the bar where a compliment gets taken the wrong way and becomes trouble. Now, there's been many situations where I've seen my coworker, whether they're a bartender or a server that I'm working with that night, and they compliment one certain person, and all of a sudden that person falls deeply in love with them. And all of a sudden they won't leave them alone. They come in on their every shift, ask about them when they're not there. And, it becomes a weird stalker situation. Now, it's for the most part, that's why in one of my early episodes, I asked the question, or early in the history of Hey Bartender podcast, I asked the question, is it okay to flirt when you're a bartender or a server? Most people that answered it through Instagram said, no, it's not okay. It's never okay. Now, some of the people that answered that question that said exactly that, I call bullshit, because I've seen them do it. Of course, that one server that I'm thinking about probably wouldn't say that it was called flirting. It's just the way they are. Sure, they'll put their hand on somebody's arm, or give them a big hug on their way out the door, or whatever. They don't consider that flirting. But to the other party, they might consider it flirting, and they think they have a shot. Closest I can think of where I absolutely know that there was flirting. No, I can't say honestly. No, my self-esteem won't let me say it was honestly flirting. But two girls were sitting at my bar. It was a relatively slow Tuesday night, and they were both pretty. And one of them that was facing me, the other one had her back to me from where I was standing at the bar. Every time I look over her direction, she'd smile and wink at me. And I'd think, oh my God, there's a girl that's actually winking at me. I don't think this has ever happened before. And I kind of played it cool, nervous as hell, going, okay, now what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? But I played it cool, not in my head. But I eventually wandered over and started talking to them. And then the other girl who had her back to me said, okay, which one of us is the bigger flirt? Or was she asked a question like that? And I said, honestly, your friend here keeps winking at me. And then they both, pointed at each other, started laughing at each other. And, good time had by all. Nothing ever happened. I never ventured farther into that conversation. Her friend moved to Colorado, I think. She stayed in town, but and I would talk to her every once in a while, but we never really got into a full conversation, even though I wanted to quite a few times. Too shy. Yeah. Loser. But in the bar scenario, it's also tough to offer up compliments because everybody has an idea of what the compliment means. If you offer a compliment to somebody, they might think, oh, I've got an in. I better jump on this situation as soon as possible. Or even in the situation where somebody offers a compliment and the other person is like, oh my God, no, get away from me. Okay, got to be nice, but
Now, some of you out there are probably thinking, have already assigned a gender role to each of those scenarios. No, you cannot assign a gender role to both of those scenarios, because in my experience, watching customers interact with each other while I was standing behind the bar, it happens both directions. You cannot assign, well, the guy's probably hitting on her, the girl's probably being flirty, the guy probably thought her hair looked funny, the girl probably thought he was too fat. No, you cannot assign a gender role to it, because it goes the same same different directions. Same different directions? No, that's wrong. I think I got caught up a little bit, because now we're acknowledging transgender and bisexuality and gays and lesbians. So it can go all sorts of directions. Because I've seen all walks of life go into my bar, and sometimes the compliments are very welcome, and sometimes the compliments are not welcome at all. Even when, especially when the compliments go a little bit too far. Now, this is probably not what's going to happen at a gym. When the compliment goes too far, because the complimenter is operating off of 2 or 3 glasses too much of liquid courage, and they go over and start talking to somebody that they just decided that they found attractive, and go over and say, "Hey, you look nice tonight," and the other person says, "Oh, thank you," and just something I threw on, whatever. And all of a sudden they're like, "So, what are you doing tonight? You want to go hang out? Want to go dance? Want to go, something like that?" And all of a sudden they're like, "My spouse is right over there." And they're like, "But are you happy with that spouse? Because I can make you happy." Okay, that's not complimenting more. That's creepy. That's dumb. That is all sorts of stupid. And eventually, that situation that I'm thinking about, situations that I'm thinking about, ended up in a fight, and mostly yelling match, because I wouldn't ever let it escalate. Well, I tried not to ever let it escalate to fist fight or anything like that, just because I don't like that happening in my bar, And it all goes on with what your intentions are in the bar, and what they perceive your intentions are in that same situation. And because sure, every once in a while I look at my customers and say, "Hey, you look great tonight. What's going on?" Or what was a really dumb thing that I said? I remember. I had these 2 girls sitting at the bar, regular customers of mine. They came in after their shift at the other restaurant, but this particular night they came in and they were dressed out of their uniforms. They're dressed in their regular clothes. And I walked over and I said, "Hey, what are you ladies up to tonight?" And they said, "Oh, we're out doing this, that." And then I actually used the line, "Oh, so that's why you both look so great tonight." And yeah, I got a blush, I got a smile, and I took, and me being me, I took that as, "Okay, Anthony, you're making us uncomfortable." And so I backed off a little bit, a lot actually, and continued a conversation with them, very respectful, as I try to be with all women. Actually, it's not really a try thing, it's the way my dad raised me. But because I'm not one of those guys that walks up to a random girl and uses a pickup line, and I'm very, very careful with compliments, because I'm never sure if the compliment was welcome or not. Okay, I was suffering that all through high school too, because the girls would dress up nice, sometimes for no reason, sometimes for some kind of occasion, but I would always make a point to say, "You look great today." And sometimes I would see them blush a little bit, maybe smile, and then they'd walk off and talk to somebody else. And so I took that as, okay, that was an unwelcome compliment. You better watch that. So, kind of feel out the world a little bit, just because I'm not saying you shouldn't compliment people. I think people should compliment everybody at all times. "Hey, you're doing a great job. Hey, you look great today." But unfortunately, the way our brains work, it can either be I've got an in, or or oh my God, I can't believe they're talking to me. Leave me alone. And once again, I'm going to reiterate this: you cannot assign the gender roles to how those reactions happen, because it happens in all directions that you can possibly think of. Like those compliments where it's just a simple compliment where they go, "Hey, your hair looks nice today," and then the person receiving the compliment is almost like, "Oh my God, they're so coming on to me. They want to have sex with me," and then I have to remind the customer their spouse is right over there. Now, they might be trying to set something up. I don't know. I don't know their personal life. Personally, don't care. They do what they want behind closed doors. But just take the compliment. Be gracious, because obviously they've moved on, because after they complimented you, they walked over to their party or their spouse or whoever they're hanging out with. It's nothing against you. It's nothing that they're trying to do. But if they stuck around here and kept throwing compliments at you, okay, you have the right to feel a little bit uncomfortable. But if somebody just walking by and decides to say, "Hey, you look nice today," take the compliment. Feel good about yourself for a little while. You have this bartender's permission. You don't have to sit back and creep out on everything that happens in your life. It's in this world that we live in. Sure, some things maybe are like catalysts for reminders of things that happened in the past. But, me of all people, I try to keep an open mind that there are still good people out in this world. Bad things have happened in the past, sure. But there are tons of people out there who just want to give a compliment. And giving compliments is an okay thing. It's go right ahead. But if you give a compliment, they look uncomfortable, start making your way out of that situation. It's tough to read. Reading people is really tough. But if you feel like complimenting somebody and it makes you feel good to do it, go ahead and do it. If somebody gives you a compliment and you feel good about the compliment that they just gave you, let them know. You're not binding yourself to anything other than a thank you. That's all I ask. All right, people, it's last call for alcohol. Come on up to the bar, because I've got a rock in my shoe or something like that, and I don't want to come out from behind the bar until I can get that situated. So, I thank you for listening to Hey Bartender Podcast. I appreciate all the followers so far, or all the downloads so far this year. I am well on my way to my goal that I set myself up for this year. Not going to announce it yet. Don't want to jinx it. And remember, if you want some Hey Bartender Podcast merchandise, all you have to do is either direct message me, email me, dude@heybartenderpodcast.com, or you can go directly to the website, www.heybartenderpodcast.com. I got an assortment of t-shirts and trinkets on there. Go check it out. Hey Bartender Podcast. I have merch. Also, if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Hey Bartender Podcast. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Hey Bartender Podcast. If you want to follow me on TikTok, it's Hey Bartender Podcast. That's the best place for you guys to go to find out when new episodes get posted once or twice a week. I know I've been kind of lagging a little bit for the last couple months of doing the 2 episodes a week, but a lot of shit is going on at work, and there are days where I'm tired or my mind's just not working, and I won't be able to give you guys a quality show, because that's what I want you guys to have, is a quality show that you can listen to while you're on the treadmill or driving in your car or closing up the bar. I know some of you guys listen to this podcast while you're closing up your bar. I'm looking at you, Boogie Lives. But remember, people, compliments, they're free to give out, and just take them, and, just be accepting of it, because nobody compliments each other as much anymore, because everybody seems to think that there's an ulterior motive that goes along with giving out a compliment. So, at least be gracious when you receive it. Compliment often, so we can make that the norm. And, I feel like this is almost like, what's his name? Peter Capaldi's last day on Doctor Who, where he stops and gives instructions to the next doctor right before he regenerates, where he says, "Always be kind, never be cruel, and never ever eat pears." You know, that was a very moving moment for me. I loved that episode. But this is Hey Bartender Podcast. And when I'm about to switch off, I always wish you guys lots of love, lots of sex, lots of happiness. And remember, don't take any shit from anyone. Good night.
I think I need another drink. What do you mean it's last call? I just got